What's up, everyone? Talking about needle selection for cattle. Okay, this is not really instructions on what old Farmer Billy does. Okay, this is kind of more for logical and scientific reasons for the length of needle and the gauge of needle for the animal and for what kind of medicine you're giving. So, I mean, the first thing you need to determine is the size of animal. Alright, so if you give a small animal too long of a needle, you can injure it, hit a nerve, you can basically injure it. For like a larger animal, if you give it too short of a needle, you could not be given the medicine to it. You couldn't be getting the proper efficiency off the medicine. If you're using too long of a needle for anything, you could injure it. Too short of a needle, you could not get the proper efficiency. Sometimes, the second thing you need to know is what kind of medicine you're giving. So the second time medicine is also going to determine the length of needle and the gauge. And so, let's see. So there is basically, there's three different categories for how you can determine the weight. So like less than 300 pounds, okay, then like the next category would be 300 to 700 pounds, and then there's 700 pounds or greater. So, and then there's also there's the two main different types of medicine you give to cattle, and it's SQ, okay, which is under the skin, and there is IM, which is intramuscular. Okay, so usually you need a needle about 1 inch to get into the muscle. So I might put this little instructions on the gauge for the needles in the description. So for like a calf or a cattle that's 300 pounds or less, the needle gauge, this is for SQ. Under the skin, the gauge is 16 or 18, and needle length is half or 3/4 inch. And so for intramuscular, the gauge is 18 or 20, and the length is 1 to 1.5 inch. So, the length, the rules say, the length is 1 to 1.5 inch, but like, why would you give something a longer needle, if you don't really need to? If 1 inch will work, why give it a 1.5 inch? That's like when the teacher says, write a 2 to 3 page paper. You're gonna, why would you write 3 pages? So for 300 to 700 pounds for SQ under the skin would be 16 or 18 gauge, and the length is half to 3/4. And for intramuscular, it's gonna be 16 or 18 gauge. The length is 1 to 1.5 inch. For cattle that are greater than 700 pounds, this is for SQ under the skin, a gauge for 16. A needle length is 1.5 or 3/4. For intramuscular, it's going to be the gauge is 16 and the length 1.5. And maybe some other tips here would be, maybe on needles, would be don't try to use a bent needle, or if you try to straighten out a bent needle, you'd be better off. That could kind of cause injury, and you just want to be making sure that you're using needles that have not been damaged or bent. So, alright guys, hope that helps you guys with your needle selection. I'm sure a lot of people across the country, across the world, go to a feed store or some kind of store, a country store, and they look at needles and they're not even sure really what they're looking at. So I hope this video helps, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.